This is Immortality. This is the latest game from Sam Barlow and his team, and I'm really excited about it, partly because actually the first game, I think the first game I ever streamed, or very close to the first game I ever streamed, was the first game of this style that Sam Barlow did, which is Her Story. And the thing that I was just really impressed by in that game is that they found a way to make an FMV game, a full motion video game, where you didn't feel sort of restricted and put off by the fact that it was on video. FMV games were kind of a popular thing during a certain very brief window in the development of computer games, where we had machines that were now powerful enough to show video at all, to show actual actors who had been shot on a set. That was actually a thing that you could put on a computer, which for ages, that was not a thing you could do. So you could do that, but a lot of, say, the developments that happened afterwards, like 3D graphics, being able to run around in a world, that kind of stuff wasn't possible yet. So there was this tiny window where you could make a world look more real and tangible by filming video of it and then integrating it into the video game. And then fairly quickly after that, we developed enough 3D technology that actually immersing someone in a world was much easier to do with that. And we kind of backed away from a lot of the FMV stuff. And FMV stuff started looking really old-fashioned. And it always, to some degree or another, was a little hokey, because it would usually be, filmed with a much lower budget than you would a movie and things like that. So it became sort of a very dorky thing that you would look back on. It's like, poofy hair in the 80s or something, where you look back on it, you're like, why did anyone ever think that was cool? That's just so incredibly dorky. But Sam Barlow found a way to use video that actually feels really, really right. And that's something that I'm really impressed by, because usually one of the big problems with FMV is the fact that because it was shot on a set, you know that it's locked in. And so you don't really get the same sense of immersion in the world, or a same sense of oh, I am a participant in this story. I am making things happen in an FMV game, because all of that video, well, it can't change. You know that it's locked into however they shot it and however they edited it. And so you feel like the game itself is not very flexible. It kind of makes the game feel like it's locked in a way that, a game where everything is done in 3D graphics, it doesn't feel the same way. Even if it is just as locked in, it doesn't feel as locked in, because the world feels real and tangible and flexible in a way that a video just doesn't. But in Sam Barlow's games, you are an actual participant in the story. The story isn't being told by the videos. The story of the game is the story of you using the videos to do something. And so the videos don't make you feel locked in, because discovering the videos is the flexible part of the game. How you find the videos, how you determine what the story is the part of the game that is very flexible and very personal to you as a player. The way that Her Story and his second game, Telling Lies, worked was, there was a bunch of videos that told a story, but there were way too many of them. And they're not available in just a list. You can't just watch them all in order. Instead, what you have to do is enter search terms into a search engine, and then it would pop up the first 3 or 5 videos that matched that word. And so you could put the word "the" in, and you'd get the first 5 videos that have the word "the" in them, but that won't tell you anything, because it'll be the same first videos. If you put "the," and really common words in, you'll get the first 5 videos on the list. And so that's not useful. You have to try to find search terms that are specific enough that they're pinpointing the video you actually want to watch. But since you're starting from scratch, you don't know what videos you want to watch. So you watch the first most obvious videos first. And then you learn about the world. You learn the names of characters, the names of places, the names of events, issues that are going on, and you then use those search terms to find the deeper videos. And basically, the whole thing is like this magic trick where they meticulously wrote the videos that have the big twists and the big climaxes and the big reveals. Those videos, they meticulously wrote them so that they only consisted of the most common words, which means that, if someone searches for those words, they won't get this video. They'll get 900 other videos first. And then very weird, rare words that you don't even know to type in until you've watched a bunch of other videos. And so they're able to, weirdly, uncannily control the order in which you get information by controlling what search terms you know to use. And it's one of the cleverest ideas I've ever seen in a video game. So when I watched, if you go back and look up my very earliest streams, where my friend Ian and I sat down and played Her Story in 3 sessions together, you'll see me getting my mind blown by this game idea. Like, I just couldn't believe that it worked. I couldn't believe that somebody had the idea and then that they believed it would work long enough to make a real game out of it. It's kind of, I compare it to Scribblenauts sometimes, because that's a game where it obviously exists. It was obviously possible to make that game. But the mystery is, how did someone think that they could make a game like that and believe in it long enough to actually do it? And so that's how Her Story worked, and that's how Telling Lies worked. Telling Lies, the kind of the big twist was, instead of it being a bunch of interrogation interviews with one actress, it was a bunch of back and forth video calls between people, but you only had the half of the video each time. And so you had put together conversations by watching one video and then another video. And so it was really interesting, but it used fundamentally the same mechanic. This is Immortality. Immortality is a similar type of game because it is still comprised of a bunch of videos that you don't have a convenient way to navigate. And the game is figuring out how to navigate these videos and figure out the story. But the difference is, I don't fully understand how it works. It's not typing in search terms. Instead, what you're trying to do, and which I think is one reason why this will work on console in a way that Telling Lies and Her Story don't really, because you don't have to type. Instead, you're trying to find match cuts. You're trying to, basically, you're watching one video and then trying to find a frame that contains something that also exists in another video. So you can chain from video to video by picking the right frames or the right subject matter. I'm not dead certain how it works, and so that's why I'm doing the stream. I'm not going to try to play all of Immortality on the stream, because these games have got twisty-turny stories that I don't want to mess up. I feel kind of guilty for playing all of Her Story on a stream, because I don't want to mess up the spoilers for other people. So we're going to play the beginning of Immortality together to find out how the crap this game works. Because it's a mystery to me. I'm not sure how it's supposed to work, but I'm really fascinated because the last two should not have worked in my head, and then they did. And so I'm fascinated to find out how this game works. So anyway, so semi off topic, Scott Landon said, I've started playing Immortals Phoenix Rising, thanks to Game Pass. So this game is on Game Pass, by the way. And talking about, difficult search terms, I think it came to Game Pass around the same time as Immortals Phoenix Rising. So if you're starting to type the word immortal, it's going to take you some time to find Immortality. But that's fine. It's appropriate. So one thing I like about this main menu, by the way, there's a lot of main menus where each time you move your cursor or select something, it plays a note in a melody. So if you do it at the right rhythm, you can play like the theme song of the game or something. They do something similar here. As I'm moving around the menu, they're stepping through a video. So as I understand it, the subject of this story is, it's about lost movies that an actress starred in, and there's some weird story about the actress you're trying to uncover. I don't know what it is. I guess I should hit start. Should I hit it again? Film grid. So every piece of restored film footage from Marissa Marcel's career is organized here on the grid. So I can use R to zoom in and out. Okay, so I can zoom tighter. And then I can, use L to navigate across the grid. And then once I've selected something, I press A to play it. Okay, so it looks like I've got access to a lot of footage. Okay, so this is very different already. I love the grid that it's arranged in, though. Like, things have different aspect ratios, and they're all just sort of, like, bricked together here. Oh, that is fascinating. I should probably avoid the love scenes. I don't know exactly how saucy they are. But this is an enormous amount of video to give me access to up front for a game like this. Because this is not how Her Story or Telling Lies worked. You had almost nothing, and you had to sort of build it by searching for things. So I guess, you know what? Let's start at the beginning. So I can zoom in to get a sense of what's in the picture. And then, how far can I zoom out? This is as far as I can zoom out. Okay, let's look at this one. Okay, what? Wait a minute. What? Why is the text messed up? Part of me is like, is this a bug? But part of me is like, no, this is probably intentional. Once a piece of footage is selected, press A to play it. Okay. This interactive restoration emulates the moviola machines that would have been used to review this footage originally. Oh, interesting. So they're getting deep into, like, filmmaking lore here. Tilt the R in any in a direction to scrub the footage. Flick it to spin the reel in that direction. Spin several times to move quickly. Press A to pause the footage. Press it again to resume.
Now you must be,
I am excited.
Okay. To navigate and organize the footage, we provide a novel concordance feature. Pause the footage and press Y to enter image mode. Use L to move the cursor over a key image like an actor's face or an important prop. Press A and the concordance will match cut to another shot in which it appears. New footage will be added to the film grid. Okay, so that grid isn't complete. That's not all the footage in the game.
now you look very young.
So let me try to figure out
You look, what, 15, 16?
how to use the right stick. I can flick it to the right or to the left.
It is finished, right?
So each time I flick it to the right, it goes faster. But then if I flick it to the left, it goes backwards. And I flick it to the right again, and it plays at normal speed.
10,000?
I think it was over 20,000.
20.
So now I can look around the frame and select her smile.
Her body double. I'm paid to stand in for her in shoots and rehearsals. That's how I know.
Her body double.
That's right.
I thought you were her sister.
Okay, so there's a conversation going here. And then, similarly, I can pause it and go to his face, select it. Oh, and there's nothing that matches it. Is this the only scene he's in? What about this crap in the background? Nothing. Okay, so it does recognize that his face is a thing I should be able to interact with, but selecting it doesn't lead anywhere. Interesting. Okay, let's back out of here. Okay, so here's the image grid. The image grid allows you to revisit and sort the images you've collected from Marissa Marcel's movies. Press LT to switch between the film grid and the image grid. Oh, okay, so I'm making my own image grid based on where I stopped these bits of footage.
We all week.
Plaza, huh? Nice stakes for a body double.
Body double to one of the biggest stars in the world. I'll tell you about it tonight.
Sounds good. Watch yourself, okay?
His face.
Okay.
His face.
Okay, so they're going to cut off her face. I think that might be a hint that I'm supposed to cut off her face. No, okay. Cut off her face sounds horrible. I mean, like, I'm supposed to look at her face. Okay, the thing I don't understand is, why were these two videos linked? Why does... Because there's lots of images with her face in it.
Christ's example shows us that sacrifice is the truest test of devotion. Nothing we can make of us.
Wait, is she in some kind of weird revisionist Christian movie? Is that guy supposed to be... Okay, so this is the original footage. This is not the movie.
Charlie, take 2.
Okay, I thought these were going to be clips from the movie. So I'm going to grab this.
59 Alpha, take 6.
Okay, hold on. I got to be a little bit careful. I want this to be a family-friendly show. And it looks like there might be a little bit of R-rated stuff in this game, so I might not be able to spend very long in here because of the danger of throwing too much weird stuff up on the screen. Okay, so I don't want to watch that clip right now. Scott Landon is pointing out that the game's volume is a little bit low, and you can't hear the dialogue. I'll pull it up a little bit. So it looks like, it does feel like they deliberately chained me from this to this. Oh, these have dates on them. So it's putting them in order. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What? This says 1969, but this says 1999. I assumed this was meant to be the same woman, but there's no way that can be true, right? Of course, this game is called Immortality. Okay, that's the end of the tutorial. Okay, so now I'm in the film grid. Okay, it showed me a bunch of footage before. But now it's gone. Interesting. So they showed me that there is a bunch of footage, and then I started somewhere. Could I have actually grabbed, like, if I hadn't grabbed the first item on the list, could I have just started anywhere? And the thing I still don't quite understand is, like, why is it that this image of her face is connected to that image of her face, which is connected to, which later on in the same clip is connected to this image? Like, why are they linked? Like, I see why this slate is connected to that slate. They're both slates. But if there's like a third slate somewhere, that's odd. Okay. And it looks like I can... So this is the film grid and this is the image grid, right? So, like, I tried to claim this as an image, but it didn't lead anywhere, so I'm going to delete it. These all led to each other. So let's go back to this original one.
He saw 20,000 girls, and long story short, he picked you.
Yes.
And you'd never acted before.
Not on the screen. I had done modeling and I liked the theater.
That is amazing. I believe we have a short clip here. Do you want to tell us
Oh,
what we're about to see?
okay.
Yes, so I play Matilda, and, well, I don't want to spoil things too much. She's a young woman who sneaks into a monastery disguising herself as a monk. And then there is a lot of drama and magic and intrigue.
Okay. Marissa Marcel as Matilda, a woman disguised as a young monk. Here we go.
Oh my God.
Okay. So, I can again grab her face, his face. Anything else? The candles. Let's see where the candles take me. That seems random.
Flower is Rosario. And action.
It was from the same movie, I think.
Thus was Lazarus dead. Jesus said, let not sleeping lie that which should walk. And Jesus kissed Lazarus' cheek. For in resurrection our Lord shows us his love. Shows us the life everlasting that shall be the reward for the...
So, I've been assuming that maybe this guy was playing Jesus, but it seems like he's quoting the Bible, so that wouldn't be the case. He's like a monk who thinks he's Jesus? I mean, he had stigmata in his hands in the previous scene. Okay, let's scroll this back. He had that key. Can I grab the key? Where does that key go?
It goes up the steps.
And then she's just got some keys, which is in an unrelated movie. This is weird.
Then we cut inside.
I like the street, but I prefer the door on the other one.
Okay, so the thing that... Okay, so she just said, I prefer the door on the other one. I'm betting that's a clue to me that the door is something I can attach to and find the other clip she's talking about. Or not?
What?
Is that a door?
The next one.
Oh.
Okay, interesting. So, I guess You know, come to think of it, okay, so I had been thinking that there was something about like the cuts, like the items in the image perfectly lining up or something, that there was going to be some weird magic going on there, but it's not. It's just, if it's a key, then it'll take you to another key. If it's a face of a particular person, it'll take you to that person's face somewhere else. If it's a candle, it'll take you to a candle. But they don't actually have to line up great, which basically kind of means that this does probably work about the same way that Her Story and Telling Lies does. Only because in those games, basically you would watch a clip and the characters would be talking, they would say words, and you would zero in on a word that was in the clip, and then you would type in that word and you would find matches to that word. This is basically doing the same thing, just with stuff in the scene. But it's not actually that different. Instead of sort of zeroing in on that word in my mind, remembering it and typing it, I'm finding the object in the world and then selecting it. And so when I see an object that seems like, oh, this is going to be important, like this means something, or if I get the sense that, like, yeah, something bad happened involving an apple, you know, I can like be like, oh, I bet there's, you know, I know there's another clip with an apple in it. I remember seeing an apple. Let's go find that clip. Yes, there's an apple. I'll click an apple and it'll take me to the apple scene.
Am I the boss, Marissa?
You are.
Okay, or a bowl scene, whatever it is.
If I was queer, you'd think I was a hero for that.
But you're not queer.
This is very old-fashioned.
When Douglas comes back, and you can all pick on him for being a dinosaur.
Douglas.
Anyway, let's skip through this. Okay, there's her with a wine glass. I wonder if that matters. No, it's just her face again.
This device allows me to see where I'm not. It shows its holder the object of their affection.
You jest.
No.
So here's the part I don't understand. So in Her Story and Telling Lies, basically there was an order to the video clips. And if you entered a search term that appeared in, like, you know, whatever, 40 different clips, it would just show you the first 3 or 5 on the list. And that was how you knew that certain ones were connected. You're like, oh, when I enter, you know, the word face into the thing, I will get the first few faces, and deeper faces in the story won't be accessible to me. But because this has got these one-to-one connections where, like, selecting a face in one clip takes me to a particular other face, or a particular example of the same face in a different clip, the thing I don't understand is it just taking me to the next face on the list? Or is it taking me, like, are there rules about this? Or did they specifically just connect one face to another? So you just have to, like, because if it's arbitrary like that, and they're just like, oh yeah, if you click on her face in this clip, it takes you to her face in this other clip, but they don't look anything alike and there's nothing that makes you understand why the connection is there, that's kind of unsatisfying because it feels arbitrary and like, oh, I'm just here to pixel hunt for the thing that the developer was thinking of, rather than following a set of logical rules that anyone understands. Whereas the search terms in Her Story and Telling Lies, they clearly followed rules that I understood up front. And so when I couldn't find a clip about a certain subject, I knew it was because I was getting a lot of chaff from other videos. This one, like, if I'm, you know, how come I'm not being shown the video that's the most important? I don't know why. I don't know why I haven't gotten there. Why I haven't just happened to click on the random face that would do it yet. So I think, So I think what I'm probably meant to do is, I think maybe a lot of these connections are arbitrary, but a lot of the arbitrary connections are just connecting a bunch of videos together. And so really what I'm trying to do is watch as many videos up front, just like establish sort of a boilerplate of videos, like watch as many videos as I can up front, and sort of just like establish a baseline. And then when I start getting hints of like what the mystery is, what am I trying to figure out, where are the secrets, what should the secrets contain, then I start being on the lookout for odd objects and things that might lead me to new places. So I think maybe what we're seeing right now, like when I'm popping around to her face, yeah, her face is going to be in most of the footage, which means that if I'm just clicking on her face again and again and again, that's like entering the word the or the word and or something like that into the previous games. It means that like I'm just going to see a bunch of random videos, and it's specifically they probably either directly linked or just made rules that caused it to link all of the most obvious baseline, not revealing any secrets videos together in a big puddle of videos that are all interconnected by things like faces that are just really obvious and really common. But like if a person shows up that isn't in any other clips or is in very few other clips, their face could lead you someplace new. Or if there's an object that's very rare, like, oh, there's not, you know, a lot of mirrors in the game.
What do you think?
Then you can...
I need to pull these off pretty quick in the scene. I can lose myself to that
What kinds of scenes is she in?
Top works great, though.
What about a princess?
But anyway, yeah, so we've got that beaded thing, so maybe the beaded thing will be a thing.
There'll be makeup on the day.
It's fucking sexy.
All right, so let's get through here. And then, like, okay, so like, for instance, this is a character I've never seen before. So it could be that her face will actually lead me to some other important video. Okay, so this is...
Scene 40B, take 3.
Is this the same movie that those same actors were preparing for? Okay, like, prominent hat in the foreground, not an image I can click. Lamp is, but lamps are probably everywhere. Phones are probably everywhere, too. So this is probably going to lead me to a boring scene. She's trying to make a decision. If you're... Okay. I love stuff like this. Because she clearly knows what decision she wants to make. She's trying to pretend that it's random, but she's only going to accept one answer. That's funny. So, but again, is this the same actress with a cell phone, but who is also in 1968? Is that the mystery we're trying to uncover? Is why this face is so familiar? So Awesome Twitch Dude asks, is this technically a game or an interactive movie? So I don't think they've got an entire movie's worth of footage. I think that these are supposed to be like lost movies that they have fragments of. And so I would not say this is a movie or an interactive movie. This is multiple video clips from multiple movies, and the game is trying to assemble a story that links them all. So that's not a movie. That is definitely a game that involves movies. So if I pick the phone again, will it send me back to the other phone? No. Different phone. Okay, let's immediately go to this phone again. Oh, interesting. Okay, okay. Is it gonna follow the same path every time?
Scene 14.
Okay, let's just immediately hit the phone every single time. Okay, so now are we gonna get the same next phone? No, we didn't get the same next phone. Okay, his phone hand counts as a phone. I love... Okay, and then now we're back at this one. Okay. That's interesting. So we're like... This is what I'm doing right now. I'm not trying to decode the story because we're not going to be able to do that on this stream. I'm trying to decode the rules of this system. So either these phones are leading to random places... And it's just finding a random phone, or, like, okay, let's try another thing. Let's back up the footage as far as we can. All the way to the beginning. Oh, wait, no. Oh, that's not going to help. I would say, like, maybe it's subtle differences in when I hit the button that leads to different phones.
Scene
73 Alpha.
Let's see if we're going to go back to another phone. Okay, yeah, we've seen that one already. And this one, I think, led to the first one last time. But this took us back to the green phone. Does this phone work? No. So, okay. So there's some randomness involved in this. Either randomness or it's like very precise, like depending on what exact frame you're on, you'll go to a different phone. It feels random though. That feels like that would be way too sensitive. Oh wait, I'm hitting the D-pad and it's bouncing me around to different elements of the scene. Oh, interesting. They didn't tutorialize this. But I can actually see what's important in the scene. Like, what's that? Is that his typewriter? Okay, I've selected it, and it's taken me nowhere. What about the thing on the door? No, oh, that's his head. Never mind.
You ever wonder why?
So we've got his magazine, the bucket, her face, the wine. Let's check out the wine. And it's got a wine goblet right there in the Monk movie. And then I can zap around. But the picture in the back.
Listen whilst I unveil the true depths of your crimes.
What the heck?
Blood of two innocents. Antonia,
Okay, she's got a bearded guy in here, but this does not look like the same movie.
She was your sister. That Elvira whom you murdered,
So now I found a bunch of clips. So this is my image. These are all the images that I've clicked. Super cutter. Added 10 instances of a single image to the image grid. Yeah, exactly, because I've been like poking around at the edges of this thing. And it basically... So I'm assuming that because I grabbed like this phone a bunch of times... Does it mean that when it says the same image... Does it mean just I've added 10 phones? Or does it mean that I clicked on the same... I didn't see the same phone 10 times, I don't think. Not yet. So I think it means that I've added 10 phones. Okay, so it looks like each phone, it's on screen for a duration. And during that duration, it counts as one image of a phone. And all of the images of a phone are considered to be the same thing. The achievement is giving me a clue to how the system works. So, because they said 10 instances of the same image. So they treat image of a phone as being like a single object that just appears in multiple... Oh, and they've got the names written. Phone, 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 clapperboard, bottle, key, door, typewriter. Okay, so I'm identifying images, like these categories of images, and I'm collecting them. And so I've collected a bunch of phones, and over time I might collect every single phone. But what I need to do is find... Okay, so what I need to do is watch these clips a little more and get a sense of who the characters are and, you know, and what the mystery of this is. Though I've already kind of identified that it feels like we're seeing a modern actress and an actress from the 60s who seem to be very similar. That seems like it's part of the problem. But who knows if that's meaningful? I mean, the same actor will play multiple characters in movies all the time. So this is Carl Greenwood. So, okay, so it's giving me some clues by telling me who these people are. But yeah, okay, so every time I click a bowl, it just takes me to a random other bowl. And so if there's like, you know, 12 shots with bowls in them, the bowls are going to take me a lot of random places. But if there's a particular object, like, I don't know, some particular necklace she wears or something like that, and she only wears it in 2 scenes, then if I find one scene with the necklace, I can zoom in on it, click it, and get that other scene that might not have anything in it that would be easily connected to by these other means. So that's how this is going to work. I'm going to be watching these clips. Once I've been playing this by myself, I'll be watching these clips for 2 things. I'll be watching them for the story to try to get a sense of who the characters are and what they're doing. in these scenes. It looks like the content, like the movie clips, the content of the movie clips doesn't seem to be that important. Or it'll probably mean something, but like it seems less important than what the characters say about it on the periphery, before and after. Like before they say action and after they say cut, the characters reveal things about themselves and their situation in those moments. And so I'm trying to decode this story of who these people are and what's happening in their lives, but I'm also trying to identify objects that could be used to chain to other videos. So Zedric von Kotmal says, I had no interest in this, now I'm intrigued. Yeah, so same. At first, I was actually kind of put off by how this was working because I was like, this feels so random. But now I have a sense for what I'll be looking for. But I'll have to, like, for instance, this captain's hat or whatever, or police hat in the foreground. When I first saw it, I was like, oh, this is going to be something, and it's not. It's not anything. The phones are things. The light is a thing.
Action.
And then I can go to that same light again.
Thank you so much for coming on.
And then I'll go to, I don't know, some other light.
Long time no see.
Does the light still count? Oh, it's not. It's gone. Added 50 unique images to the grid. Haha, yes. It keeps zooming in past the lights. Oh, what is this? Is it a bulletin board? Painting. Okay. And that's a painting. So, okay, so this painting could have led to that other painting. Oh, there we go. There's another one. So, so I could just, without watching any content of any of these videos. Wait, what did that lead me to?
Funeral. Have it buried in the vault.
I could just build up a whole ton of video clips just by doing this, and then watch them all in order. Oh, okay. I do not want to know what's going on in that scene. Yeah, okay, so bouncing around like this. What the heck? What just happened? Did I just hit a weird button? Oh, I think I lost. Sometimes my controller loses connection randomly. So, and it just happened again. So, yeah, that's what's happening, is my controller's losing connection. And so they just go to the menu when that happens, apparently. Anyway, yeah, let's stop bouncing around and getting random videos. But it looks like I've gone back to the same videos multiple times. A lot of these things, like the phones, the lights that I was following, were sending me back to the same places again and again and again. So it looks like I've kind of built up a boilerplate of these things. And it looks like they've been put in chronological order. And there's this time jump from 1970 here until 1999 here. How late does it go so far? It's all 19. So there's a whole bunch of 1999 scenes. And then there's at least goes like through 1968 through 1970. Is this 68? Yeah, through 1970. And then there's a jump and it goes here. So I'm like laying down like sort of a baseline to understand the time. So I could actually on my own time, and again, I don't think sitting through all of these video clips, especially with some of them being a little risque, I don't think sitting through them all together is going to make sense. So I'm probably going to end this episode pretty soon, but I just wanted to figure, okay, so when I start playing this on my own, I'll start by watching all of these video clips that I've built up. Get a sense of what's going on in there, get a sense of who the people are, what's involved. And then once I have a sense of that, I'll start looking for interesting objects to follow and keep expanding and keep adding more. I wish there was a good way, or maybe there is, I can favorite things if I want to. I'm not sure which of these would be my favorite. I didn't actually watch any of them. But I could favorite things if I think, oh, this is important, I want to come back to this. And then, what is the right trigger? Oh. Right trigger is switching between calendar order versus movie order? Is that what we're saying? So, like, this clip is from June 1970. But it gets reordered if I switch to editing order. So I guess, I mean, some of these movies, that makes sense, right? Like some of these, like this shot was shot on August 16th, but it's actually from earlier in the movie. That's what this difference is. So I can either watch the movie clips in order, or I can watch the story around the movie clips in the order in which they happen. Oh, that's fascinating. I'm betting somewhere in here there's a story that's being told behind the scenes, before action and after cut, that only makes sense in chronological order, but if you watched it in movie order, it would be nonsensical. Oh, that's interesting. There's a lot of interesting stuff in here. So Junebuggy says, looks like a Jeebus game in disguise. I don't know what Jeebus is, but I'm sure you're right. Okay, I think that's about what we can discover right now without actually delving into the content of the movie clips, which I kind of don't want to do for a couple reasons. One is, I think watching me watch a movie clip is going to be not that exciting. And also, the content of the movie clips, that is where the story is hidden, and I don't want to be going through this and revealing and figuring out the story, you know, when this is something that people, the fun of it is discovering it for yourself. And also, I don't know what's happening in some of these clips, and some of them might be not appropriate for my channel. So I think we're going to leave it there. But okay, it's interesting. So I went from fascinated to weirded out to fascinated again, which is that's a lovely arc for this thing to follow. Scott wants to know, can this be played via cloud? I have no idea, and I'm actually not sure where to check to find out the answer to that question. I don't think it's only available in Game Pass, though. I think it's available on other platforms. I know Telling Lies eventually got a mobile version, which I'm actually thinking of grabbing so I can check it out again. Because, oh, let me tell you what was fascinating about Telling Lies, right before we wrap this up. So, Telling Lies, it tells a story about, like, a guy and his family and some stuff that happens. But the stuff, you actually don't even know what the stuff is at first. And you're sort of delving into their story, and you're sort of watching his job interfere with their relationship, and, you know, like, he makes a bunch of, you know, choices that you don't understand at first, but you come to understand them as you see more and more of his explanations and the clips and everything, and you're following this kind of the story of this guy and his family. It's the actor from Upgrade, by the way. Yeah, he does a pretty good job, and so I got really into that story, found out what, like, and I got to the big reveal where I'm like, oh, that happened, you know, and I got really excited. And it took a lot of effort to, like, find the search terms that would lead to that clip. And I was like, oh yes, I did it. I found the answer. I'm here. I've won. But it wasn't like, there wasn't a, like, fanfare around that. Because, you know, this game is about decoding something, and the makers of the game don't actually know if you fully understand. You could see the big pivotal clip and not understand it. So when do you put the fanfare? So there was no fanfare. But a thing that was weird, I don't remember exactly how it worked, but either the search term that I typed to get to that final clip that revealed the biggest moment, either that search term also revealed an additional video, or that video, that pivotal video, had a new search term in it that I've never heard before. I can't remember which of those it was. But because, you know, the game didn't, it's not like the credits rolled or something. Like, I just kept poking around, and there was another video that revealed itself at the same time that had a familiar actress in it that I had never seen in the game yet. And it's Clementine from Westworld. So she's a totally familiar face. And I was like, wait a minute. If this actress is in this game, how come I haven't seen her face yet? And I realized, and I don't know this for sure, but I was like, I'm betting there's a different, secret, hidden story, hidden plotline in this game that you only get access to by getting to the end of the first most obvious story. And then this one is accessible through that. And then there's a whole other thread to follow. And I was like, wow, I should follow this thread. And then I went to sleep, and then I got up again and forgot, and then played other games, and I never went back to it. So I don't know what's there. But it was really clever and surprising, and it just, like, totally wrong-footed me. And so that's why I love these games. It's why I love Sam Barlow's work and his team, and just, it's awesome stuff. So anyway, so Cogs points out this is only $18 on Steam, so it's much less expensive than a typical game. So if watching this has piqued your interest and you want to know how the heck can a story come together from this, I can promise you that it is possible. Her Story and Telling Lies both had really interesting stories that I loved uncovering. I don't know what the story of this is yet. I can't necessarily vouch for it, but it is getting good reviews. And as you can see, it's a fascinating approach to telling a story in a game. So, anyway, yeah, Reneth Court says it points out that actress, it's not like she's the most famous actress in the world, so it could just be like, oh yeah, this is just a gig she did and she had a minor role. Entirely possible, except her face is on the cover of the game. So I think we're meant to know, not just from recognizing her as a recognizable actress, but from having seen her face on the cover, that she's important. And seeing her that late in the process, I think, is meant to be a surprise. And I think they arrayed a lot of the sort of marketing stuff around that fact. But, okay. Anyway, I should go. So, let's wrap this up. There's a subscribe button. Here's links to other videos. And, yeah, thank you for coming on this exploratory journey with me. I'm looking forward to actually playing the game.